Hi guys, it's Ray here from Man City Fan Chats. I want to talk to you about Joao Felix now. He's a kid, he's 19 years old playing for Benfica, and we've been rumoured to be after him. United are after him, Atletico Madrid are after him, a whole host of clubs are interested in this guy. He's, as I said, 19 years old, playing for Benfica in Portugal. And yeah, he can play up in the middle up front, he can play out wide. He's very versatile, very much sought after. A lot of clubs interested in him. And we've been told apparently his release clause is 120 million euros. That's what it's going to take to buy this kid, 120 million euros. Now, it's one of those things. He's only had one top season. Is that enough to chase a player? It's very hard. A lot of fans of many clubs don't want to buy a one-season wonder, and hope for the best. Look at someone like Ousmane Dembele, brilliant for Dortmund, went to Barca, and he's, quite frankly, he's been pants in my opinion. So there's other players like that who've had one really good season and then have done nothing after that. But then on the other hand, you look at someone like Kylian Mbappe. When City wanted to buy him from Monaco, I think City were looking at about 30 million quid. Okay, a year later, the price has skyrocketed, and I think 2 years later, he's gone for 200 million euros or 200 million quid, whatever it was. It was a heck of a sum of money. So, it's one of those things. If you see enough potential in the guy, then City will pay the money. I think there's no question about that. If they see this guy as being the next big thing, then City will pay the money. So as I said, many clubs interested in him. There's been, in the last couple of days, strong rumours that he was going to go to Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid had met his release clause. There's also rumours that United had met his release clause. There's strong rumours that City had met his release clause and had offered Benfica the option for the kid to stay with them for another season, which is actually, I think, a very good option for them and for the kid and for City as well, actually. We don't really need him right now. Last season we got 98 points. The season before we got 100 points, and the only additional player was Mahrez. And we lost KDB a lot of last season as well, and Fernandinho, and Mendy for both seasons. So, I'm not saying we need him right now. I think we could cope without him, and then the following season would be great to get him then. So this rumour about Atletico Madrid, now people say, have they got the money? Well, they just sold Lucas Hernandez to Bayern Munich for 80 million euros. Griezmann's off ski as well. I think they lost a couple of other players as well. So they could have somewhere in the region of 150, 200 million euros burning a hole in their back pocket. So I don't think it's a problem that they've got the money, and they need somebody, to replace Griezmann if nothing else. So there was, a lot of rumours pointing towards Atletico Madrid. Now, there was a statement in one of an article in one of in the papers, I think in Spain or Portugal, and stating that a deal had been done. It had been agreed between Atletico and Benfica, and negotiations were underway. Now, in a very unusual step, Benfica came out this evening and said basically that wasn't true. Now, it's a very long statement. I'll read it to you. Apologies for some of the for the translation. It's maybe not the best, and it's not the best grammar and syntax or whatever, but it's a translation of what the statement from Benfica was. Benfica's statement read: in view of the set of news published in these last hours, Sport Lisboa e Benfica, Football SAD, clarifies that it is false that any negotiation process is currently underway regarding a possible transfer of player Joao Felix. The conditions for its negotiation are public and known, taking into account the termination clause defined in the amount of 120 million euros. More serious, and that deserves our most vehement repudiation and denial, is the false news that refers to negotiations that involve commissions of 30% and which, unfortunately, was echoed in Portugal by the newspaper A Bola, with intentions and goals that we do not know at all. We repeat, this information is totally false, absurd, and has clearly intentions for the reputation and dignity of Sport Lisboa at Benfica. So there you go. I mean, that's what Benfica say. It's quite unequivocal, that there's no negotiations, there's no deal in place. So that kind of, knocks out everything, spins it around on its head. Now, the rumours are that City would not be interested in him, would not be making a bid unless Leroy Sané goes. If Leroy Sané goes, we need another wide attacker, a skillful wide attacker. Obviously, we'll have the Leroy Sané money, which, if he was to go, I would be surprised if it's anything less than 100 million euros. I'd be very, very disappointed if it's less than 100 million euros. I mean, let's look at the facts. Leroy Sané has done it for 2 seasons, albeit didn't have a lot of action in the last half of last season, but for 2 seasons in the top league in world football, in my opinion. And he's done very, very well overall in those 2 seasons. Got a bag full of goals, bag full of assists, looked very dangerous, and he seriously is one of the most exciting young talents on the planet. Joao Felix has had 1 season at Benfica. To me, that doesn't match up. If Joao Felix is going for 120 million euros, unless City or whoever can see a lot more in him than you can see in Leroy Sané, then Leroy Sané surely must be going, if he's sold, for more than Joao Felix's price. Now, it may be, going back to Germany, if that happens. I'm not saying it's going to happen, just putting it out there. Going back to Germany might, mean that we have to compromise a little bit. The guy can turn around and say he's homesick or whatever. And it might be that we compromise and sell him for 100 million euros, something like that. But in my opinion, he's worth a lot more. And as Joao Felix is worth 120 million euros, Leroy Sané must be worth 150 million euros. He's done it for longer, and he's done, in my opinion, in a harder league, and he's done far better than Joao Felix has done in the last season at Benfica. So, as I said, very, very interesting that Benfica put out that statement. A very unusual step for a club to come out and put such a comprehensive denial of what newspapers are saying. Now, the next step for me, and I'd love this, I've said this many, many times, I would absolutely love for them to sue the newspaper. Why not? If they're printing lies, why not sue them? And sue everybody who copies them, okay? Because that's a problem with some of the media. They just copy somebody else's baloney. Okay, somebody puts out a ridiculous story and everybody jumps on the bandwagon and wants to copy it because they don't want to. It's that fear of missing out, fear of not saying that you mentioned this story too. Fear, of your editor turning around and saying, well, hang on, X has gone to this club. Why didn't you say anything about it? Okay, so people are just scared. A lot of these journalists have no information. They're just copying others. It's scandalous that. They put out some of these stories, and you've got to ask yourself, whose benefit is it for? Is this story about Atletico Madrid to push other clubs off the scent, and is it put out by Atletico Madrid so that other clubs then say, all right, Atletico are doing some business with them, and they take away their offers or their interest? Is it by somebody else to flush out Atletico Madrid or flush out what's happening? Who knows what's going on? A lot of dark and murky waters out there in the transfer world and with agents, and who knows what's going on. I'm sure we'll find out in the next few weeks. In my opinion, a lot of transfers should be done by the end of June. Leaving them into July, I never like that. The longer you leave a player joining, the less time he has to settle in the new country, start learning a new language, get used to the weather and possibly the food, and get everything set up like bank accounts and where to live and schools for the kids or whatever you've got to do. And if you're joining a week or two before pre-season, you don't have much time for that. And for City, the pre-season's in China and Japan. So, I want players to join as soon as possible, as soon as practically possible, so that they can get used to Manchester, get used to their teammates. When pre-season starts, they're bang there on day one, focused on football, focused on the new teammates, rather than worried about where they're going to live or where the kids are going to go to school. So fingers crossed, whichever way it goes, a yay or a nay or whatever, I'd like us to have better idea of where City are how we're going to start the season. We've got a couple of weeks left before the end of June, but I'm keen for things to be done by the end of June. Guys, if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, it would be fantastic if you could take the time to do so. Just click that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos come out, and as soon as we go on the live streams. At the moment, we're doing live streams every single day. Right now I've got a normal video like this, an in-depth study of something, and then a live stream which is a mixture of topics in more, usually shorter bursts, and with comments from subscribers. And so they're commenting, and we're having a nice Discord, a nice chat about football and life. So if you want to be part of that, just hit that bell icon, subscribe, hit the bell icon, you'll be notified as soon as we do live streams. See you around, Blues.